Missed that last part. My video. So, the backpackers are back and had a night's rest.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you go in total?
Like a little over 24 miles. 5 hours, 30 minutes to do 17 miles.
And then what was your favorite part of the hike?
The rabbit hole where you had to climb down we didn't go actually through the rabbit hole, but that area where you had to scramble down the rock.
The more difficult way, so we brought paracord for a reason, and we took off our packs and he climbed down first, and then I lowered down the packs with the paracord and then climbed down myself. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
So you had good teamwork the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't complain once. That's one thing we noticed.
You were both positive?
We're not complaining.
A lot less complaining than hiking with other people.
We decided to go to Wire Pass to White House, which is the third most common.
So where you actually camped and set up camp?
It was kind of like this big old valley. It opened up to probably like 200 feet across.
Yep.
And then there was two main hills.
Yeah, two giant hills.
There was one hill, the first one coming from Wire Pass, that had about 7 guys camping on the very top, 100 feet off the ground. And then ended up going to the other hill, which we ended up going like 50, 60 feet above ground.
The way the two hills look is really amazing because you got the two giant hills, and then you got these little terraces where you go up this steep embankment, and then it's like a flat area where they have it for a terrace, and you go straight up again in the little terrace area.
They're slowly eroding away because each flash flood that comes through there. If I had to say one of my favorite parts, it would be the echoes in the canyon at our campsite.
Okay.
So you could say one thing from way on the other side of the canyon.
Yeah, 200 feet away or whatever.
You could say it like at a above normal pitch, and it'll echo in the canyon forever. So there'll be a guy that sneezes on the other side of the canyon, I can just go, bless you, and then it'll echo into the canyon. And echoing at random times.
Oh yeah. And throws off.
We go to different parts of the canyon, like where we were parked, or I said parked, where we were set up. The echoes would go pretty well, and we could kind of hear people, but it would get washed away with the echoes. And
Didn't you guys get in a game of bocce ball with them?
I was just about to talk about that. There is
so since you have the terraces, you can go from one terrace to the other.
So there was one part that no one was camping at that was pretty low to the ground, and so the other guys that were there, they ended up making like a bocce ball like ring. They had like a target with like a hole in the middle with like a stick, and if you hit the stick, you automatically win. Or if you break it, and then there's like multiple circles surrounding that one. So we would stay at the bottom, and then probably about 30 feet away and 50 feet up, we would go to the very top, and we would carry rocks up each time after each toss. So we probably had
you hadn't hiked enough, you're now hauling rocks?
Yeah,
we
so
probably had about
like 50 feet above, and you were just chucking those rocks as hard as you could, either fly over and then hit.
There was we would
Land on the
get
target.
about a little over 4 rocks each time. So I got it in the bushes.
Throwing them in the bushes, like, so
I
there's a
did.
big dirt area, and then there's the bush, and he keeps landing them right in the bush.
I chose the heavy ones, okay?
He's like,
Okay.
"Ugh," and they land right in the bush.
Lost the first game, but won the second game. They're like 40. They're like
Everything.
lawyers.
Lawyers.
He did give me his card, and it said Civil Matters on it.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
well, if I need Civil Matters, I'll call you.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned flash floods. As
Yeah.
moms were back home,
We didn't care.
The
Y'all
previous
cared.
day,
I was so nervous.
the lady told us that there was chances of rain, and when I had checked, I hadn't seen anything, but I didn't look at 3 a.m. in the morning. Kind of worried about that, but he wasn't. He was like, oh, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I wasn't that nervous
We
for
were-
a flash flood because usually when a flash flood hits, it has to rain for a while upriver.
I'm glad we did go because the rain there was not bad at all.
Like shake the tent and kind of wake me up and be like, ugh.
Because
Utah's in a drought.
yes,
So
the monsoon season lasts from like June to like August, and don't quote me on that because I could be wrong, but that's when it rains the most out of the season. And
or that's when you
October,
actually get rain.
yeah, October you get very little rain, so it's the best time to go.
Fine.
We went through about what 30 cesspools, and the second day we had about, I want to say 40 to 50 river crossings.
Oh yeah. Pools could have been a lot deeper than they could have. Like we've seen places where like, oh, this used to be a cesspool, but it's empty now.
It was some of the
One piece of advice each of you would have separately for somebody that wanted to do this?
Bring a camping mat to lay on, because the ground there is rock solid hard.
I've
Bring a
got
sleeping bag.
2, but the main one I'd say is bring a walking stick or walking pole. Like going
Yep.
through the water with a walking pole is just makes a world of difference to go through those waters, knowing that you have that extra stability. So I'd say if I were to go again, I would take neoprene socks, which are kind of like the wetsuits for socks, and then probably some Kings, like some water shoes.
What is one thing that you are so thankful that you did pack?
Rope,
Good.
that was an odd thing that we were really thankful for, because we did not want to go through the rabbit hole that was covered in mud in the bottom.
I think last minute I was planning on bringing my gallon jug of water, and I was going to pack it in. I'm glad that I brought a water. I mean,
Weighed it, and we dropped off like 13 pounds of weight just from water and food and stuff.
you drink so much water.
What's
Oh,
your
yeah.
trail names now?
Isn't it, his trail name is Mr. Whiz. He peed 13 times. I don't care that I counted. One time was from the tent.
But he doesn't know how to walk on mud, apparently, because I called him mudslide, because like 3 or 4 times he'd go to the edge and like it just collapsed under him, like, because it's just dirt. It's not like a stone cliff, so he just go whoop and fall down.
There was a ton of like stair step,
Little terraces and plateaus formed of
sand
dirt,
slash mud erosion spots.
and
where
you kept falling off those.
Watch
You
out
try and
for that
step
mud.
up,
At
and the
some
sand would
point,
collapse down.
I'd make it a game though. I'd go find one and just like stand on the edge and I go mudslide. And just go all the way down.
You'll hit the top, and then there'll be clay underneath, and you'll go. Whoop. He entertained
too
me
much
for the
to the
last
down
bit
line.
when he started getting delirious.
A little bit of hysteria.
And
The guys-
Rylan when he's delirious?
I'm delirious.
He likes to sing.
I'm in
loud.
Nice musicals.
Into the woods.
So yeah, he got to sing,
into the canyon.
and I just stopped. He started talking a lot by singing, and I just stopped talking at all and was quiet and groaning.
Not good, but that was something you did for a little while, probably for like a
Chugga, chugga,
mile.
chugga, chugga,
Every
chugga,
like 2
chugga,
seconds you'd go. Just like every now and then I just go, just echo through the canyon. We saw signs of wildlife, but not too much wildlife. We saw one squirrel. I say it's a
Chipmunk.
squirrel. He
It
says
was a
it's
chipmunk.
a chipmunk.
It had white lines on its back, therefore it's a chipmunk.
Anyways, it was a little rodent. We saw it and it scurried straight up
Oh,
the
it's
canyon side.
vertical
Like, it went
cliff.
vertical climb.
A deer.
We
ghost,
did see a tarantula.
something.
The guys across the way had caught a tarantula, and they put it in a little cubby and like wrote on the outside with charcoal tarantula on the side. And so they had like a little small
Pet.
tarantula.
That's how it goes.
It was funny. And then
Yep.
mules too. I think the
Yes.
mules, they could have been horses.
Cows.
Mules are. We just
But I
saw a
would
hoof
say
print.
I would say donkeys or mules.
But
And
yeah,
how heavy were your packs?
I think
38.
his was 38. I think I was a little bit lighter.
I carried the tin. He carried a water bottle and a walking stick. That's how
Good
it goes.
compromise.
Yeah, split up. Split.
So
Your
we
Gucci
got there
flip-flops?
and he had taken the cover from the dishes
But before
and
that.
the cover from the tent and had put them on his feet and tightened them, and
My feet were
he
so
called them
cold.
his Gucci flip-flops, and he walked around with his Gucci flip-flops.
My feet were.
Wet
Just had
and
these
muddy.
bags over my feet, walking around.
In all honesty, the pools weren't bad.
No,
There
they
was-
weren't bad. It was
it
just
was-
the
it
after
was just
effect of
cold.
walking wet. It's
Yeah.
like not. It's not enjoyable. So.
Yeah.
Quick rundown on the stuff that you did pack. You said you had a 2-man tent.
2-man
So-
tent.
So he
Food,
brought the
water.
2-man tent. I
Food.
brought a good majority of the food. We both had our own share in snacks. I say he brought
2 gallons of
the
water.
paracord was a must. A
Night
knife was good.
flashlight,
in the
utensils.
night.
Those are also heavy. The little propane tank, even though it's little, and the pot.
Brought
4
an extra
pairs of socks.
Like at least 3 to 4 pairs, I'd say.
I brought 4 pairs of socks, and I used every one. Mango pieces.
Sleeping bags were very helpful, and like we said, sleeping pads would have been really nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your cell phone and a charger,
Yeah, I had
but you didn't have service.
No service, but I had a Sherlock's Home book downloaded, so we
Mm-hmm.
got to listen to The Sussex Vampire, a short story from Sherlock's Holmes.
Download.
Spoiler
Podcast.
alert, it was the teenager.
It was the teenager with the poison needle.
I fell asleep like 20 minutes in, to be fair, so I woke up and he's like, "Did you like fall asleep?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "It was the teenager."
Well, he fell asleep like halfway through. I could hear.
Apparently I breathe heavy. I guess.
Yeah, he breathes heavy when he's asleep.
At least he's not snoring.
Yeah, no snoring, but you can just sleep.
I'm a heavy breather. What can I say?
Yeah.
I don't know what I sound like when I'm asleep.
Yeah, I don't either.
I kept hearing like something walk by our tent, so I kept waking up because I heard
I heard that once. I
walk
wasn't
something
sure
by our
what it
tent, then back by our tent. Ghost
was.
of
The
the
ghost of Buckskin Gulch.
It's Billy Goat Ghost.
That's your novel.
17 miles in 5 hours.
Yeah.
You guys
Through a
have
slot
to-
canyon, which is turny
8 to 2 is
and up
6.
and downy and rocky
And through
muddy.
water.
So overall, great trip. Not for the faint of heart, but it was amazing.
I give it a 4 out of 5 on difficulty and a 10 out of 10 out of experience. Really, really great. Fun. Would definitely do it again.
Don't break your ankle. It's gonna be hard to get out.
You get airlifted.
All right, until next hike. What did the dads do? This is what we missed.
The dad's for half an hour in. We're like, we're gonna die! Oh my gosh! Call a helicopter!
And so Jeff and I found this little route down, but it was like these little pools. It's basically like a slot canyon where the water just swirls around. That's how those formations are. But these were like little tiny pools, and so we get to one that's like 15 feet from the top to the bottom. And I'm like, all right, Jeff, grab my hand. He's lowering me down, and then at some point, you just have to let go. And so the last 8 feet or so, I just fell to the ground. There's a mud pit at the bottom. There's no water or anything, which is good, but yeah. And then Jeff was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go back. But then he realized he couldn't get back because we'd already come down another way.
Brewer's like, good luck on that 15-foot fall by yourself. So I had to slide down by myself, rip my elbows, my pants, and
you guys
were on the trail for all of what, 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
And they did
2
this for
miles.
how long? And they were like slightly muddy,
Well,
and
so
you
2
guys were
days.
like covered in dirt.
And then we were stuck up there, and he finds us way down this cliff, and we're working our way down this cliff, and then they walk down the river. We're like, hey, help us!
we see him coming down this like edge, and it's like probably like this much before it drops off, like around like a slope.
He's
And
like,
I
"Hi,
see him,
hey,
and we're
we're
going
coming down."
across
Oh.
the river.
I carefully researched the topography in the area, and I was like, that's our way down, Jeff.
Were you all a little shocked to see your
Yeah, we're like,
dads
we're like,
well,
on the
I
wait,
was-
side?
what's going on? Why are they?
I was a little bit shocked. But as soon as I saw you, I go, "What are you guys doing?" That's what I said. I don't know if you heard me. I see you. I said, "What are you guys
That's
doing?"
exactly what I was thinking. What am I doing? I'm like, I'm too old for this.
We're up at the top, like, hi boys, hi.
So we were contemplating like who would go and take us to Waffles, because we were like, I don't know if like some of the parents would, and then we said, okay, well,
We can't
said,
find
we knew
Waffles in
Dawn,
Kanab.
we knew Dawn would definitely take us to Waffles.
we knew you would take us to
if
Waffles.
she came. So we
Pet
said
to
to ourselves, we said, I hope Dawn gets her FOMO so she comes and takes us to Waffles.
Yeah, we wanted our waffle.
By the
Okay,
way-
but hold on. So what happened with FOMO? It wasn't FOMO. I had made the mistake of watching a YouTube video of flash flooding. So when it starts raining, I wasn't too concerned until the next day when I talked to a ranger and he said, oh yeah, it did flood. I would have told them not to go.
They're
And I
dead.
was like, okay. I said, so what if it does happen and it is flooded? He said, well, they can wait it out. How long does it take to recede? He's like, a couple days. Days? I was like, they don't have enough water. They don't have enough food. Then I talked to a tour guide on the outside and he was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I would have told them not to go. And I said, well, they're going to camp at the confluence, so it's up higher. He's like, it's not really that much higher. And it's really easy to miss the White House turnoff. I lose it. Right into
I remember I was driving really fast to come help you.
Oh.
Oh.
So then
Oh.
my panic then like dissipates onto everybody else. And then it became a race. And he was
And
supporting
Mario
me.
and Dreddy over here. Jeffrey and Dreddy.
And I
It was
look
a wide
over.
open western road. I was doing 85.
I look over and the
90.
speedometer is like ticking at 90. So I reach over and tap the speedometer like, I don't think getting there fast is going to help anything. It's going to be what it is. Right about that time. The officer was so kind.
Super nice.
I had my sunglasses on, but I had tears coming down. And he was like, our sons are out there. My wife's really nervous. So we're going to go out there and catch them. Which then he proceeds to tell us about search and rescue, how
What
they
county to ask
helicopter.
for.
He said they got really great search and rescue here. I'm like,
and gives us the information on how to contact that. So that doesn't help me one
but he
bit
gave me a
whatsoever.
warning because he was nice.
And let him
said,
off, and he said,
"Go,
hurry,
but
go.
drive slower."
Yeah, hurry off. So that was that adventure.
Get out of
The
jail
only
free
reason
card.
I was
And
coming
then Jeff,
Yeah.
was because
then
I was
Jeff, let's-
told y'all were dead.
let's mention. Let's
They already picked out the caskets and the gravestone. They found a burial site for us. They had a
Stop it.
funeral.
Did not.
They had the plots of land picked
Yeah.
out.
I will say Aiden is no longer on my tax. He's no longer a tax credit.
Yeah.
So I was like, eh.
I haven't updated my will.
So then we got our passes, then we started to hike out.
That mudslide video you sent me.
Oh my gosh,
Or
it
you
was
showed me.
awful.
That was bad.
It was like
on
this
the table.
mud and debris,
Right
the
here.
trees, but they're safe.
We're fine.
We're good.
So the adventures of 2 days in a slot can.
Make a documentary on this.